Welcome! If this is your first time on this channel, you have found something that is going to change the way you read your Bible, the way you watch the news, and the way you understand the time we are living in right now. True God code exists to do one thing: to present the evidence. Not emotion, not headlines, not fear, the evidence. Mathematical, astronomical, historical, and scriptural evidence that points to one of the most specific and verifiable prophetic windows in the history of the church. We have spent years building this case from the ground up. We started in Genesis. We traced a 6,000-year war against a single bloodline, the Messianic line, from the declaration in Genesis 3:15 all the way to the present day. We showed how Daniel's calculation, verified independently by two scholars a century apart, produces the date of the triumphal entry of Jesus Christ exact to the day. We showed how that same framework, extended forward through a corrected calendar, produces 2033. We showed how NASA's own astronomical database places a blood moon over Jerusalem on Passover of 2033, exactly as Joel 2:31 requires before the great and dreadful day of the Lord begins. We showed how Hosea, writing 8 centuries before the cross, encoded a 2,000-year interval that lands on that same window. We showed how the blood moon tetrads of 1949, 1967, and 2033, all NASA confirmed, fall on Jewish feast days and align with the 3 most significant moments in modern Israeli history. 7 independent streams of evidence, all pointing at the same window, none of them aware of the others when they were written. That is what this channel is built on, and if you have not seen that case yet, every video is in the description below. We encourage you to start from the beginning, but today we are doing something different. Today we are not looking backward at the evidence we have already built. Today we are looking forward, because if our position is correct, and we believe it is, then the Bible tells us with remarkable specificity exactly what must happen between now and 2033. Not vaguely, not loosely, specifically. Named events, named nations, named individuals, named durations, and we want to put that list on the record, publicly, time-stamped, today. Because here is what makes this video different from almost anything else you will find in the prophecy space. We are not telling you what we think might happen. We are telling you what the Bible says must happen, and we are telling you in advance, so that as each item on this list unfolds in real-world headlines, we believe they will, you will know exactly what you're watching, and the case for 2033 will get stronger with every single event that checks off. That is the power of specific prophecy. It does not get weaker as time passes, it gets stronger. Every fulfilled prerequisite is another nail in the framework. Every event that lands exactly where the text said it would land is another witness that cannot be cross-examined away. Before we go any further, if this content speaks to you, please like this video right now. Share it with someone in your life who is watching the world and wondering what it means. Subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell, because we are going to be tracking these events in real time as they happen. This community is growing, and every person who joins it strengthens what we are building together. Now let's get into it. Before we can talk about what must happen before 2033, we need to make sure everyone watching understands what we mean when we say the 70th week, because this term gets used constantly in prophecy circles, and it does not always get explained clearly. Daniel chapter 9 verses 24 through 27. This is the passage. The prophet Daniel, writing in Babylon in approximately 538 BC, receives one of the most mathematically precise prophecies in the entire Bible. God gives him a framework of 70 weeks, 70 heptads, 70 units of 7, to cover the complete prophetic program for the nation of Israel, from a specific decree all the way to the establishment of the Messianic kingdom. 69 of those weeks have already been fulfilled. Sir Robert Anderson, the head of criminal investigation at Scotland Yard in 1895, did the calculation. He took the decree of Artaxerxes in 445 BC, applied the prophetic year of 360 days, established internally by Revelation's own arithmetic, counted forward 173,880 days, and landed on March 30th, 33 AD, the triumphal entry of Jesus Christ into Jerusalem. The day he presented himself publicly as the figure the prophecy described. Harold Herner, a seminary professor, working independently a century after Anderson with different methodologies, arrived at the same endpoint. Two scholars 100 years apart, same answer. After the 69th week, the text records a gap. The Messiah is cut off, the city is destroyed, and the clock pauses. Luke 21:24 tells us what governs that gap. Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. The gap runs on solar time, the calendar of the Gentile world, not the prophetic year. That is the correction that moves the endpoint from 2012, which is where the calculation lands without the correction, to 2033. The 70th week is the final unit, 7 prophetic years, 2,520 days. It begins with a signed covenant, Daniel 9:27. It has a midpoint at day 1260 where the covenant is broken and the Great Tribulation begins. And it ends with the return of Jesus Christ. We believe that final week opens at Passover 2033 and closes at Sukkot 2040. April 14th, 2033 plus exactly 2,520 days lands on the Feast of Tabernacles in 2040. The feast where Jesus declared, "I am the light of the world," the feast that Zechariah 14:16 says all nations will keep in the millennium. That is the framework. That is our position. And everything in this video flows from it. Now here is the question that drives today's video. If the 70th week opens in 2033, what has to happen between now and then? What does the Bible require to be in place before that covenant can be signed? What are the dominoes? What is the sequence? And what are we watching for? There are 5 major prophetic events that must occur, and we are going to walk through every single one of them. Isaiah chapter 17, verse 1, the burden of Damascus. Behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city, and it shall be a ruinous heap. We want you to understand the historical weight of that sentence. Damascus is not simply an old city. Damascus is the oldest continuously inhabited city on the face of the earth. Archaeologists place its continuous occupation at somewhere between 8,000 and 11,000 years. Every empire that has ever swept through the ancient Near East has passed through Damascus. The Assyrians passed through it, the Babylonians, the Persians, Alexander the Great, Rome, the Byzantines, the Crusaders, the Ottomans, the British. None of them destroyed it. The city survived them all. And Isaiah looked at that city and said, "It will become a ruinous heap." That prophecy has never been fulfilled, not partially, not symbolically, not in some ancient conflict that historians have tried to retrofit onto the text. Damascus has been continuously inhabited from before the time Isaiah wrote to this present day. The prophecy is entirely future. It has 0 historical fulfillment. Now look at where we are. December 2024. The Assad regime, which had held Damascus in an iron grip for more than 50 years, collapsed. Bashar al-Assad fled. The political structure that had governed Syria since 1970 disintegrated in a matter of days. And Damascus, for the first time in living memory, entered a state of genuine political uncertainty. The city still stands. We want to be clear about that. Isaiah 17 has not been fulfilled, but the conditions surrounding Damascus have never, in the modern era, been closer to what a fulfillment of Isaiah 17 would require. And here is why Damascus is the first domino in the sequence we are watching. Iran's entire ability to project power toward Israel runs through Syrian territory. The supply lines that move weapons from Tehran to Hezbollah in Lebanon, the logistics network that has funded and armed Israel's most persistent northern threat, all of it runs through Damascus. When Isaiah 17 is fulfilled and Damascus falls, that network collapses. Iran's forward operating position fractures. The axis that has projected Iranian influence into the Levant for decades breaks apart. And that fracturing does not remove the motivation of the nations named in Ezekiel 38. It may accelerate it. A Russia and an Iran that have lost their Syrian foothold, that have watched their axis of influence crumble, have a different and more desperate calculation to make. The rage that drives the Gog-Magog coalition in Ezekiel 38:10-11, where God says, "I will put hooks in your jaws and bring you forth," that rage has a context. And the collapse of Damascus may be exactly that context. We are watching Damascus. When that city falls, and we believe it will before 2033, it will be the first public verification of this checklist. And when it happens, we want you to remember that we said so, because Isaiah said so first. Ezekiel chapters 38 and 39. If you have never read these two chapters in full, we are going to ask you to do that after this video. Read them carefully. Because what Ezekiel describes in these two chapters is one of the most specific, most detailed, most verifiable prophetic events in all of Scripture. A named coalition, a named target, a named mechanism of destruction, a named aftermath with specific durations. This is not vague apocalyptic imagery. This is a military briefing written 26 centuries before the battle. Let's start with the coalition. Ezekiel 38, 2-6 names the participants. Magog, which the ancient world consistently identified with the territories north and northeast of Israel, the region we know today as Russia and Central Asia. Rosh, Meshech, Tubal, also northern territories. Persia, which became the Islamic Republic of Iran in 1979. Ethiopia and Libya, North African components. Gomer and the House of Togarmah, territories associated in the ancient world with Eastern Europe and the region of modern Turkey. Russia, Iran, Turkey, North Africa. That coalition has never assembled in history. But it is closer to assembly right now than at any point since Ezekiel wrote these words. Russia and Iran are actively coordinating militarily. Turkey, which was a NATO ally for decades, is repositioning geopolitically in ways that align it more closely with this axis. The framework is forming. Now look at Ezekiel 38:11. God speaks of the attacker's motivation and says this, "I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates." The attack comes against a secure, prosperous, unsuspecting Israel, not a nation at war, not a nation in the middle of the Great Tribulation, a nation that is at rest, a nation that feels safe. That description fits Israel today more precisely than it has fit Israel at any point since 1948, the Abraham Accords, the normalization trajectory across the Arab world, Israel's current military and technological dominance, the economic development of the last decade. Israel today is the most secure and prosperous it has ever been in the modern era. Ezekiel's precondition is present, and then God intervenes. Ezekiel 38:18-22. When God comes against Israel, God's fury rises. A great earthquake shakes the land. The armies turn on each other. Pestilence and blood and an overflowing rain and great hailstones and fire and brimstone rain down on the coalition. The armies are destroyed on the mountains of Israel, not by the Israeli Defense Forces, not by any human military response, by direct divine intervention. So complete and so supernatural that Ezekiel 39:7 says, "The nations will know that God is the Lord, the Holy One in Israel." This event will be impossible to explain naturalistically. When it happens, every military analyst on Earth will be looking for a rational explanation and will not find one. And that is precisely the point. God says in Ezekiel 38:23, "Thus will I magnify myself and sanctify myself, and I will be known in the eyes of many nations, and they shall know that I am the Lord." Now here is the verse that makes Gog-Magog the single most mathematically airtight proof that the 70th week has not yet started and cannot start until this battle occurs. Ezekiel 39:9, "They shall burn them with fire 7 years." after the battle, after the coalition is destroyed, after the dead are counted and the victory is acknowledged. Israel burns the weapons of the destroyed army for 7 years, not 7 months, not 7 weeks, 7 years. Now take that number and go to Revelation 12:6. At the midpoint of the 70th week, at day 1260, national Israel flees into the wilderness. Matthew 24:16 confirms it. Then let them which are in Judea flee into the mountains. Israel evacuates at the midpoint and does not return until the second coming. Put those two facts together. Gog-Magog produces a 7-year weapon-burning period inside the land of Israel. But at the midpoint of the 70th week, Israel flees the land entirely. A people who have fled their cities cannot burn weapons at home. Therefore, the 7-year burning cannot begin during the second half of the 70th week, which means it must begin either before the 70th week opens or at its very start, which means Gog-Magog must occur before 2033. That is not interpretation, that is not theology, that is arithmetic. And it has one conclusion: if the 70th week opens in 2033, Gog-Magog must happen before that date. It has not happened, which means the 70th week has not started, and the window for Gog-Magog is open right now. We are watching for this battle, a specific coalition, a specific target, a specific supernatural destruction on the mountains of Israel. When you see Russia and Iran and Turkey moving together against a secure Israel, and you see God respond in a way that no military analyst can explain, remember this video, because Ezekiel said it first. And Ezekiel gave us the 7-year number that ties it directly to the 2033 window. After Gog-Magog, Ezekiel 39:12 tells us Israel spends 7 months burying the dead. 7 months of a national burial operation so large that the text says, a valley will be named the Valley of Gog because of the mass of the fallen. And then Ezekiel 39:22 records something that is essential to everything that follows. It says, so the house of Israel shall know that I am the Lord their God from that day and forward. National Israel experiences a spiritual awakening in the aftermath of Gog-Magog, a direct recognition of divine intervention on their behalf. This is not a minor detail. This awakening is the spiritual preparation that makes what comes next possible. Matthew 24:15. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place. 2 Thessalonians 2:4. Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Daniel 9:27. And in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. 3 scriptures, 1 requirement. A functioning temple with active daily sacrifice must exist before the midpoint of the 70th week. For sacrifice to cease at day 1260, it must first be running. For the Antichrist to sit in the temple, it must be standing. For the abomination to occur in the holy place, there must be a holy place. There is no temple on the Temple Mount today. The Dome of the Rock stands where the temple stood. The political, religious, and geopolitical barriers to temple construction in Jerusalem are among the most complex on earth. And yet, the infrastructure required to change that is more advanced right now than at any point in the last 2,000 years. The Temple Institute in Jerusalem has been preparing for decades. Priestly garments have been woven according to Torah specifications. Temple vessels and instruments have been recreated. Priests have been identified and trained from the correct Levitical lineages. Training that had not been conducted since 70 AD has been resumed. The institutional preparation for a functioning temple is not theoretical. It is physical, documented, and ongoing. But there is a prerequisite that must be met before any of it can be activated. Numbers 19:1-10, the Red Heifer Ordinance. Torah law requires that before the temple altar can be consecrated, before priests can be purified for service, a qualified red heifer, a female cow without blemish, without spot, that has never been yoked, must be sacrificed. Its ashes are used in a specific purification ritual. Without this purification, the altar is ceremonially invalid, and no sacrifice performed on it counts under Torah law. There is no workaround, there is no rabbinical substitution. The red heifer is not optional, and here is something that very few people outside the prophecy research community are aware of. In 2022, 5 red heifers meeting the Torah qualifications were imported from a ranch in Texas to Israel. They are there. They have been examined by rabbinical authorities and certified as qualifying candidates. The key is in the lock. The ceremony has not been performed, but the physical prerequisite for performing it is present in Israel right now for the first time in 2,000 years. We are watching for the red heifer ceremony. When it is performed, it will signal that the temple sequence has been activated, the altar can be consecrated, daily sacrifice can begin, and the prophetic clock for the temple component of the 70th week will have started running. The geopolitical window for temple construction may open in the aftermath of Gog-Magog. The nations that have most vocally opposed Israeli sovereignty over the Temple Mount are named in the Ezekiel 38 coalition. When that coalition is supernaturally destroyed, the political landscape of the Middle East will be transformed in ways that are difficult to predict but not difficult to imagine. A post-Gog-Magog world is a world in which Israel's position on the Temple Mount may look very different than it does today. We are watching for the temple, and we are watching for the red heifer ceremony that unlocks it. Revelation 11:3-6. I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 candlesticks standing before the God of the earth. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth and devoureth their enemies. These have power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues, as often as they will. 1,260 days. The entire first half of the 70th week. 2 specific individuals standing in Jerusalem with documented, repeatable, publicly witnessed supernatural power. They shut the sky. No rain falls during their entire ministry. They turn water to blood. They call down fire on anyone who attempts to harm them, and anyone who tries to stop them dies. Think about what this would look like in the world we live in today. 2 individuals in Jerusalem with the ability to stop rain across the earth. Every agricultural nation on the planet would be responding to them. Every meteorologist would be trying to explain the anomaly. Every government would be sending delegations. The footage of fire falling from heaven on soldiers would be on every screen on earth within minutes. These 2 are not background characters operating quietly in a corner of the world. They are front-page news every single day for 3.5 years. They are not here, they are not active. There is nobody on earth right now matching this description. And their absence is not a small data point, it is conclusive. The 70th week cannot be running without the 2 witnesses being visible. They are among the most prominent figures of the entire period. When they appear, and we believe they will appear in connection with the opening of the 70th week in 2033, it will be unmistakable. The world will know who they are. The world will try to stop them and fail. And every viewer of this channel who has been watching this checklist will know exactly what they are seeing. 2 Thessalonians 2:3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Paul wrote this verse specifically to address people who were claiming that the day of the Lord had already come. He is writing to correct exactly the kind of confusion that exists in prophecy circles today, and his answer is direct. That day cannot come until 2 things happen first: the great falling away and the revealing of the man of sin. Not the suspecting, not the speculating, not the theorizing, the revealing. This is a specific public moment, and the text tells us what that moment is. It is the signing of the covenant in Daniel 9:27. That act of confirming a 7-year covenant with many is what reveals him to those who are watching. Before the covenant, he may be positioning himself, he may be rising in influence, but he is not yet revealed. No covenant, no revealing, no 70th week. Paul said it, and he said it plainly. Now Malachi 4:5-6. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. Before. That word is doing significant work in that sentence. Not at the start of, not during, before. A preparatory voice that precedes the opening of the entire period. The same function that John the Baptist served before the first coming. Luke 1:17 says he came in the spirit and power of Elijah to make ready a people prepared for the Lord. A figure with that same function arrives before the second coming's opening act. His role is to prepare, to call the people back, to cut through the noise and the confusion and the false claims, and to make the way ready. That figure is not on the world stage today. And his absence, like the absence of the 2 witnesses, is a stated prerequisite. God said he would send him before the day begins. He has not been sent yet, therefore the day has not begun. We are watching for both of these figures. The Elijah-type voice that begins to operate on the global stage in a way that is undeniable, and the man of sin who positions himself in plain sight and then seals his identity by confirming the covenant. When those 2 figures become visible, the 70th week is at the door. So here is where we are. Let us put the whole checklist on the screen and look at it together. Damascus destroyed, Isaiah 17:1, not yet fulfilled, in motion. Gog-Magog, Ezekiel 38-39, not yet fulfilled, coalition forming, temple built and operational. Matthew 24:15, 2 Thessalonians 2:4, not yet fulfilled. Infrastructure present, Red Heifer ceremony performed, Numbers 19, not yet fulfilled, heifers in Israel. The 2 witnesses active, Revelation 11:3, not yet fulfilled, not present. The man of sin revealed, 2 Thessalonians 2:3, not yet fulfilled, not identified. The Elijah figure active, Malachi 4:5, not yet fulfilled, not present. The covenant signed, Daniel 9:27, not yet fulfilled. The starting gun. Not one checkbox is checked, not one. And here is the question that we put to anyone who believes the 70th week has already started. Point to the covenant, point to Gog-Magog, point to the temple, point to the 2 witnesses. If the clock is running, every single one of these is verifiable in current news right now. They are not verifiable because the clock is not running. Now here is the other side of that same argument. Because this checklist is not just proof that the 70th week has not started. It is the map of what the next 7 years must contain. And when you lay it against a 2033 window, something remarkable happens. Everything fits. Barely. But it fits. Here is the sequence as we believe it will unfold. Damascus falls. That is the first domino. We are watching Syria right now. When Damascus falls, Iran's logistical axis into the Levant collapses. Russia and the coalition reorganize. The conditions for Gog-Magog reach their final stage. Gog-Magog occurs. We believe this happens in the 2027 to 2028 range to allow the full sequence to complete before 2033. God destroys the coalition supernaturally on the mountains of Israel. The world watches an event it cannot explain. 7 months of burial begin. Ezekiel 39:12. Israel's national spiritual awakening follows, Ezekiel 39:22. In the geopolitical vacuum that Gog-Magog creates, the barriers to temple construction are removed or transformed. The nations that opposed Israeli sovereignty over the Temple Mount are no longer in a position to oppose anything. The Red Heifer ceremony is performed, the altar is consecrated, daily sacrifice begins. The Elijah figure rises to prominence. The man of sin positions himself on the world stage. The 7-year weapon burning from Gog-Magog is running. The temple is operational. The prerequisites are met. And at Passover 2033, April 14, under a NASA-confirmed blood moon over Jerusalem, exactly as Joel 2:31 requires. The covenant is confirmed. The 70th week of Daniel opens. The man of sin is revealed. The two witnesses begin their 1,260-day ministry. And the final chapter of human history as we know it begins. That sequence is tight. There is no slack in it. Every event has to fall in order, on time, without a significant gap. And we want to say something directly about that tightness. That is not a weakness of the 2033 argument. A human prophecy would build in margin. A human calendar would have buffer room. A divinely engineered sequence has exactly enough time and no more. The tightness is the signature. It is what you would expect if the calendar was set from outside of time, by someone who knows exactly how it ends. 7 years is not generous, it is exactly enough. And exactly enough, confirmed by 7 independent prophetic streams, sealed by NASA's astronomical database, verified by mathematics that any viewer can check, is not coincidence. It is a calendar, and we are watching it run. We want to close with something that we believe is the most important point in this entire video. Not the mathematics, not the astronomy, not the geopolitics, the meaning. Because the question that matters most for the person watching this video is not whether 2033 is correct. The question is, what do you do with this information if it is? The church has been taught for generations that the story ends at the tribulation, that the darkest moment of human history is the final chapter. And that teaching, whether it is intentional or not, has produced paralysis. It has produced fear. It has produced a posture of waiting for the worst, rather than understanding what the worst is the doorway to. The 70th week is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of the final chapter. Daniel 12:11 through 13 takes us to day 1290, the judgment of nations, day 1335, the full establishment of the millennial kingdom. Zechariah 14:4, his feet shall stand on the Mount of Olives. Zechariah 14:16, all nations keeping the Feast of Tabernacles in the millennium. Revelation 20, Satan bound for 1,000 years. 1,000 years of the knowledge of the Lord covering the earth as the waters cover the sea. The story does not end in the tribulation, it ends in a millennium. And the millennium is what the tribulation is the doorway to. The covenant of 2033 does not open a chapter of despair. It opens the final act of a drama that was declared in Genesis 3:15 and has been building for 6,000 years. And at the end of that drama, the one who declared war on the messianic bloodline in the garden is bound, and the king whose bloodline he tried to destroy for 6,000 years sits on the throne of David in Jerusalem. That is where the story goes, and knowing that, really knowing it, seeing the full arc from declaration of war to the binding of the one who declared it, changes everything about how you carry yourself through the next 7 years. We are not watching with fear, we are watching with expectation. Every item on this checklist that verifies is not a sign of doom. It is a sign that the calendar is running exactly as it was written. It is a sign that the one who wrote it knows exactly where it goes, and it goes somewhere that is worth everything that comes before it. So watch Damascus, watch the Gog-Magog coalition, watch Israel, watch the Temple Mount, watch for the Red Heifer ceremony, watch for voices and figures that match the prophetic descriptions. And when you see these things begin to happen, and we believe you will, remember what Jesus said in Luke 21:28. When these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. Not fear, not dread, redemption. That is what we are watching for. We want to thank you for spending this time with us today. What we have walked through together is not light material. It asks something of you. It asks you to take the text seriously enough to follow where it leads, even when it leads somewhere uncomfortable. It asks you to weigh evidence honestly, even when the conclusions are large, and it asks you to hold this information with both conviction and humility. Conviction that the case is strong, humility that we see in part and know in part, And God alone holds the complete picture. What we can say with confidence is this: the checklist we put on record today is specific, it is falsifiable, and it will get stronger with every event that verifies. That is the nature of specific prophecy. It does not ask for blind faith, it asks you to watch, and then it shows you what to watch for. We are going to keep building this case. We are going to track these events in real time as they unfold. We are going to add layers to this framework as the evidence develops. And we are going to do it the same way we have always done it, with the text, with the data, and with the honesty to say clearly what we believe and why. If this video gave you something, a new way of reading the text, a new framework for watching the news, a renewed sense that the story ends in redemption and not despair, thank you for watching. Please like this video, share it with someone who needs clarity, and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you do not miss the updates we release as these events unfold. Your support helps this work reach more people. We are grateful you are here. Until next time, keep watching, keep testing, and lift up your heads.